Mark Zuckerberg and Meta are in an absolute free fall. Users are leaving, revenue is down, and their stock value keeps falling. Offices are being closed, layoffs abound, and Zuckerberg's wealth is beginning to evaporate. We are going to see what's behind the collapse of what was once considered the titan among woke big tech giants, and stick with me at the very end of this video when we'll find out why they only have themselves to blame. On Friday of last week, CNBC reported on what appeared to be nothing less than an out-of-control death spiral for Meta stock. Meta, of course, being the parent company of Facebook. Now, get this. Only 4 stocks in the whole of the S&P 500 were performing worse than Meta. Just a year ago, it was beginning to look like Meta was absolutely insurmountable. They were sporting a market cap of $1 trillion, putting them up at the financial summit of just a handful of U.S. technology giants. But since then, Meta has lost a colossal 2/3 of its value. Its stock is trading at its lowest in years, and it's about to close out its 3rd straight quarter of double-digit percentage losses. Again, only 4 stocks in the whole of the S&P 500 are having a worse year. As it turns out, millions upon millions of users in the United States and Canada have closed their accounts and dumped Facebook. In fact, Gen Zers and millennials laugh at it. They barely even acknowledge Facebook's existence. And as a result, advertisers are taking their business elsewhere, and Meta's revenue is evaporating. Needless to say, they've begun closing offices. They've just announced that they've terminated their lease for one of their Manhattan offices, and other offices are shrinking as they transition to hybrid work from home. And of course, there are the inevitable layoffs. Thousands of them. Reports are that as much as 15% of Meta's workforce will be getting pink slips in the next few weeks. And to top it all off, the cherry on the top, Mark Zuckerberg himself has fallen off the Forbes top 10 list of richest Americans. It is nothing less than a titanic train wreck of colossal proportion. So what happened here? Why is this once titan among big tech giants imploding? You know the answer. I know you know that. I think every single one of you knows the answer to this. In fact, the answer has a nice little refrain to it. Get blank, go blank, right? You don't need a value there. You don't have to buy a vowel. We will most certainly reveal the answer after you click on that link below and head on over to my special website for the Ready Project Food Supply. We all know that we can't wait for emergencies to happen before we respond to one. And no one, and I mean no one, makes preparing for an emergency more ridiculously easy and affordable than our good friends over at the Ready Project Food Supply. Gang, they're one of us. They're patriots, and they're simply the best. Their food kits last up to 25 years in storage. They include breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Every meal is at least 2,000 calories. And if you act right now, you're going to save 25% off a full 4-week emergency supply when you click on that link below to my special website. So whatever you do, don't wait. I've got my emergency food supply. Make sure you get yours. Click on that link below or go to getreadywithsteve.com. Save 25% off your very own 4-week emergency food supply today. So what is it, gang? What is it? Who can solve the puzzle? Bring Hannah on here. Get woke, go broke. That's exactly what happened to Meta, and they've left trail after trail of it. When Facebook banned President Trump from its platform, almost immediately, Facebook saw $34 billion, that's billion with a B, wiped out of their market valuation. They were financially crushed with that pathetically woke act of cancel culture. And then, of course, you had the whole saga involving the deliberate censoring of the Hunter Biden laptop bombshell that, according to the polls, would have sunk Biden in that election. A significant portion of the population have said that they would never have voted for him had they known he was involved in Hunter's illicit business activities, particularly with China. And then, of course, you've got the ridiculously woke culture at Meta. So, for example, last week, Sheryl Sandberg, the CEO CEO of Meta for well over the last decade. She left the company after overseeing a market value loss of 60%. She was an absolute abject disaster by any standard of evaluation. But what's really behind that disaster, besides managerial incompetence, is her incessant and vile wokeness. You want to take a guess at what she has planned for the next chapter in her life? She's giving $3 million to Planned Parenthood and promises to be a front lines activist for abortion. That is who is running Facebook. That's the person who is in charge of deciding what you can post and what you can't. No wonder pro-life accounts were getting banned all over the place. And we're seeing, even with Elon Musk take over Twitter, we are seeing the world is moving away from wokeness. They want nothing more to do with it. And it's not even the cancel culture per se. I mean, that's bad enough, of course, but it's more than that. It's the fact that the proponents of wokeness look so obviously and pathetically petty. You might remember back in September of last year, a number of internal Facebook documents were anonymously leaked to the Wall Street Journal that detailed and described the controversial practices that Facebook executives were knowingly engaging in, such as disregarding their own research into the harms of Instagram, which Facebook owns, the harms of Instagram, particularly for young girls, and the false sense of self-image that Instagram promotes. In a further investigation, the New York Times concluded that the major reason why Facebook is so prone to prey on young girls' body image and ignore their own research is not because they're indifferent. It's not because they're so big and powerful. And it's not even because they don't frankly care. It's because they're so desperate. It's because Facebook is in so much trouble. This is from the piece. Quote, not financial trouble or legal trouble or even senators yelling at Mark Zuckerberg trouble. What I'm talking about is a kind of slow, steady decline that anyone who has ever seen a dying company up close can recognize. It's a cloud of existential dread that hangs over an organization whose best days are behind it, influencing every managerial priority and product decision and leading to increasingly desperate attempts to find a way out. This kind of decline is not necessarily visible from the outside, but insiders see 100 small, disquieting signs of it every day. User hostile growth hacks, frenetic pivots, executive paranoia, the gradual attrition of talented colleagues. And then after talking about comparisons with Godzilla in terms of how big and powerful Facebook was supposed to be, this piece goes on to note, quote, if these leaked documents proved anything, it's how un-Godzilla-like Facebook feels. Internally, the company worries that it's losing power and influence, not gaining it, and its own research shows that many of its products aren't thriving organically. Instead, it's going to increasingly extreme lengths to improve its toxic image and to stop users from abandoning its apps in favor of more compelling alternatives. In short, Facebook is basically morally keeling over. Having sold its soul to left-wing wokeness, it's imploding under the weight of its own absurdities. It claims to be a social media platform for everyone that censors opinions that offend them. They claim to be for women's rights, all at the same time they're demonstrably exploiting young girls. It does appear that we really are entering into a post-woke, post-cancel culture age. And if there were one thing we're becoming increasingly sure of about that age, it doesn't look like Facebook will be a part of it. As always, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button, and you will definitely want to check out my latest video I just uploaded on Twitter employees panicking as Elon Musk is set to take over in just days. Oh, how delicious liberal tears are. You're going to love it. So make sure to click on that link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.